What's up, guys? It's TechnoViking23 coming to you today with some Raid Shadow Legends, and it is Friday, so the week has come to an end. Of course, it is Free to Play Friday. We're here on the Free to Play account in the middle of the 2x Ancient Summon event. We're also in the middle of this new fusion that's just recently started, so we're going to be talking about a couple of those things today. I had managed to save up 50 ancient shards. I've decided on this account we're basically just going to start hoarding all the shards we get, since we now have a pretty solid roster with our Cold Heart finally and a couple of other good champions. We had an absolutely massive day for pulls on this account. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Just picked up a bunch of really good epics, and we actually are going to wind up getting basically 3 legendaries out of the one pull, so we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But first off, probably not going to play the game much tonight. There's a lot of stuff that came out today from the developers I really want to talk about, and kind of has me a little worried for where this game is headed in the future due to some announcements we got. But first thing I want to talk about is the UROGRIM NERF. We're going to revisit this. I did a video the other day where I kind of talked about how Plarium really botched the handling of this, where they knew when this champion was on the test server how busted he was. They still let it go live. They still let it go through a void 2x event where people spent their money to try to get this guy, because content creators made all the videos talking about how awesome he was. And it's just been kind of a really tough situation for them. I think I have him on this account. I think I had pulled him at some point, but I hadn't yet started working on him. Maybe he's in my vault. I had to make some room today because we had so many ancients to pull. Somewhere in here. There he is right there. So I don't know if we can take him out. I think I'd maybe leveled him up, but I hadn't actually put any gear on him just yet until the other night when I had to stick him in for a Faction Wars run. So here's UROGRIM. Obviously, when he came out on the test server and then was released, he's able to solo Dragon 25. He's been outperforming Bad Elgato in some areas with his kit. And so Plarium decided to nerf him with the new patch that's coming out. And a lot of people were upset, and rightfully so, and I think we talked about that a lot in the other video. But what I want to talk about today is Plarium actually came out and issued a response to this. And their response is typical Plarium. It's completely tone deaf. It's basically just deal with it, like they've said with everything else. I'm going to compare this to another developer in a minute here as well that's having some issues with their game. But basically what they said, reasoning behind the upcoming rebalance. They want to start with the most discussed topic, the rebalance coming in patch 4.7. The purpose is to adjust the champion in such a way that they better fulfill their particular role within the boundaries of their rarity. This does not necessarily mean making them stronger per se or turning them into a universal tool. Due to the current tight development agenda, we can't release rebalance patches more often for now, but starting next year we want to make it more of a regular thing. That's a total excuse. They have plenty of time to develop stuff in this game. Stuff in this game comes out at a snail's pace, so that's the amount of money they're making. They have plenty of development time. It's ridiculous. We know how unsettling it is for you to see UROGRIM being nerfed. His performance proved him to be way overpowered and even capable of clearing 20 plus stages of the Dragon Dungeon solo, not the function he is supposed to do as an epic support champion. Having an epic support champion that outperforms a legendary one of similar applications such as Bad Elgato throws the game balance off. After the rebalance, UROGRIM will remain a decent epic champion capable of supporting his team by healing them while debuffing the enemy. So yeah, he's still going to be decent, and I think a couple people are still making some videos today showing that he can still do very well in the Dragon. But this logic from Plarium here is tone deaf, and it's absolutely stupid. And I'm going to tell you why. They say he can clear 20 plus stages of Dragon Dungeon solo. On my main account, I have a Grappler, who is a rare spirit champion with poison and weaken, and I can clear the Force Dragon 21 with him solo. Does that mean he's broken and overpowered as a rare and needs to be nerfed? I mean, I don't think so. Let's talk about champions like Cold Heart, who's a rare champion, rare void champion, who is basically used at every level of this game. She's more useful than a lot of legendaries. Does that mean she needs to be nerfed? I don't think so. You've got even uncommons. You've got Shield Guard, who can basically solo Nightmare Campaign. You have Armiger, who is one of the best turn meter reduction champions in the game, and he's an uncommon. And I don't hear anything bad about them from Plarium. You know, you've got several rares like War Maiden, Apothecary you can use deep into the end game, who are better than epics, better than legendaries. And Plarium is going to sit there and use that type of logic to defend this nerf, which I think is absolutely stupid on their part. It's a tone-deaf argument from them. It's a tone-deaf response from them, which is getting pretty typical, unfortunately, of this company at this point in time. And I just think it's absolutely ridiculous that they can't even recognize the fact that some people spent money to get this champion. They spent their actual real-life money to buy void shards. to try to pull this guy. They invested a bunch of in-game resources in building him up, and Plarium can't even acknowledge that in their response, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. You know, as a developer, you know, there's a balance. You can make money. We all know you want to make money. That's perfectly okay. That's fine. It's, you know, you're in a business. You want to make money. None of us have a problem with you making money. The problem is you can make money and also not be completely terrible to your player base, and not completely ignore your player base, and not completely ignore the feelings of your player base when they're upset about things. The response that came out today should have been like, we understand a lot of people are upset about this, and here's what we're thinking about doing to alleviate this problem. There should have been some type of in-game compensation or return of resources. As I mentioned with Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, anytime they nerfed a major hero or made changes to a hero's kit, they gave you back all the stuff you spent on that hero so that you could decide whether or not you still wanted to use that hero going forward. You could reinvest that into another hero, or you could rebuild them again, but you got that option. And like I said, that game is run by EA, who's one of the worst publisher developers out there, and they even acknowledge that, hey, we made a reset on a major part of this character's kit. We're going to go ahead and let you guys decide whether or not you want to go back in on that character or use a different one. And then I actually want to talk a little bit about Marvel Future Revolutions, which is another game I've been playing here on the side. I was really excited for it, really enjoyed it at the beginning, but it's kind of taken a wrong turn here the last couple of weeks. The developers have made some changes to the game and put in some patches that have been absolutely terrible. They had a patch that came out, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and it basically ruined the game for anyone that wasn't going to be a massive in-game spender with the way they set up the leveling. With the new Dark Zone system, and you could only reach like level cap of 103 playing the regular story stuff that they put in. Then you had to go into this Dark Zone and get your last 7 levels with just some asinine grind to get there. It was ridiculous. And then some of those zones also had PvP in them, so you would run into the endgame whales who would slaughter your character in 2 seconds. So really, really bad changes. The community was very, very much in outrage over it. So Netmarble, who is actually a very money-hungry and predatory microtransaction type developer, similar to Plarium in some ways, actually issued an apology. You know, they came out and they issued like an emergency patch today, and they came out and said, you know, we didn't think about this enough before we made it go live. We understand everybody's upset about this. Here's what we're offering you as compensation. And they gave basically all the players like $20 worth of in-game items and said that, you know, here's what we're going to do to alleviate this, and we're going to do to fix this patch. We're going to backtrack on some of these decisions and make some other decisions that hopefully are better off for the player base. That is how you respond to things like this. You don't just sit there and double down and say, deal with it. Or we know it's unsettling for you, but we really don't care. This is what we're doing. You know, and I think, I don't want to lecture on this too long, but I think this is just an absolutely terrible decision. A way of coming at it by Plarium. It's just they're completely tone deaf to their player base. And I know why. It's because there's 90% of the people that play this game, they're not on YouTube, they're not on Reddit, they're not on Discord. They don't care what the developer does. They just play, and they enjoy the game. They like the characters, they like the graphics, whatever. They spend their money. I have a friend of mine that I played Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes with for 2 years, who was a major whale in the game. He never once looked at a YouTube guide. He didn't care about content creators. He didn't even care about the Discord or anything. He's just like, I'm just here. I'm having fun with my guild mates. I like to spend money on the game. I love Star Wars. That's it. And that's usually about 90% of the whale, casual type whale player base that plays these games. That's what keeps these games going. It's not like the whale you see on YouTube pulling 600 sacred shards. That's like one out of however many, but you've got a very large portion of the player base that just doesn't care. And that's going to continue to play the game, continue to spend. And that's what keeps these games going. So all these people that are always calling for like, oh, we got to boycott Plarium or do this or that, like, it's unfortunately not going to make a difference in the long run. And that's why Plarium continues to have this attitude, and why I was saying that as a developer, you know, sure, you can make all the money you want, and that's great. We want the game to be successful. We want you to make money. But you have to have a little bit more empathy for your players. You can't just treat them like an open wallet. You have to actually have a little bit of empathy and say, hey, look, we understand. You know, we should have done this before the champion came off the test server. We should have reversed these, you know, made him the way he is now going to be in this patch before he came out. So none of you would have wasted all your stuff on him. And now, instead of, you know, they could have even, I doubt they would ever give everybody back all the stuff, but they could have at least given people back a little bit, or said, here's a couple of chickens, here's some energy, here's something. But no. So it's really unfortunate, I think, the way they've handled this entire thing. And unfortunately, I didn't want to spend a free-to-play episode on this. But since it came out today, I wanted to talk about this and get it off my chest, because I think it's just a terrible, terrible decision and a terrible response on their part for how they're handling this. One other thing I did want to mention, too, is we got some news today that they are coming out with the duplicate system video that's going to show us apparently what they're working on for the duplicate system. Some people are throwing out some clickbait saying, oh, duplicate system is coming in 2 weeks, but that's not actually the case. They're going to be showing us a video apparently explaining the basics of how the system will work, and they're saying if everything works out, that the video will be ready to show us within the next 2 weeks. So we're going to be looking for that. To me, this is going to be a make or break point, I think, for this game. Now, I did mention, a lot of the people that play this game are very silent. They're going to keep playing, doing whatever. I would never expect the game to just die from any decision the developer makes, but I think this one coming up is actually going to be a pretty big decision. Now, my free-to-play account, I don't have any issues with duplicates because I quite honestly haven't pulled many. Now, on my main account, I've pulled 5 Visiks, I've pulled 3 Raglins, I've got duplicate War Mothers, Tilas, I've got all kinds of dupes on that account. It's going to be interesting to see what they do for this system, and I know, personally myself, I've heard from a lot of players who are basically like, if they screw this up, I'm done. Like, because a lot of people, especially the ones who spend a lot of money, they get a lot of duplicate champions. A lot of them are basically like, if they screw up this, we're basically finished with the game. So, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with that. Like I said, look for that maybe in about 2 or 3 weeks. And of course, I'll probably cover, I don't usually cover all the news of the game because there's a bunch of other people that do it, but I'll probably talk about that depending on how it looks. But let's get into what's going on with the free-to-play account. Like I said, we are in the middle of the fusion here for Sigmund, the High Shield. One of the cool things today during the 2X, I had Layla pull my shards on stream, and I actually did pull a Master Splinter, is what I'm calling him. Pulled the rat guy. So we have one of the champions already done. I don't know how hard I'm going to push this fusion, but getting him out of the 2X kind of makes me think maybe we should try to go after it. So I don't know. We'll see. It's all going to depend on how these initial tournaments go. Right now, we are in the midst of a couple of the events for the fusion. And we were pushing Arena pretty hard today. I farmed Arena a lot during the day today. And we are almost done with the Arena tournament. We actually were in first place for a while, but I don't think I can maintain top 2. I may try. We'll see. It's just I don't know if I'm going to get enough tokens on free-to-play. But we're pretty close. We should have this done sometime tomorrow pretty easily to get the 15 fragments here. We've got the Champion Chase, which like I said, we had 50 shards. And we did get enough good pulls. We also pulled Rorik out of the portal, so that gave us some extra points. So we were able to basically pretty easily get those. I went ahead and pulled Rorik so I could get that legendary book, because those are actually very important on a free-to-play account. If you can have a chance to get these books, that could be very helpful. So we got that there. So we got the 20 and 25 there. Obviously, we're not going to finish up top here at all. There's 0 chance of that happening, but that would be nice. The tough one here is going to be the Spider tournament. I've been farming Spider for the last basically day and a half. Because I'm trying to get some pieces for my dwarves actually, so we can improve faction wars, and I'm working on a arena defense team. And we're at 985. We got to get all the way to 1800, and I just don't know, because I'm having trouble. I can really only farm Spider 14, so I'm not getting as many points as I normally would. However, we did get a champion today that hopefully is going to help with that. That I'm going to try to get built in the next day to see if that can help. But I have to wait till the artifact enhancement event goes live. I don't want to spend any silver until that goes live. And that's what we have here. That's going to be live in the next 4 hours, so that's kind of cool. And we do have Dungeon Divers going on. It's going to be going on for a couple more days, so we got some time. It's just from grinding Spider. We got to push out. It doesn't really matter with this guy now because we already have him. And then we could try to get the Void Dwarf. That's kind of the thing that I do on free-to-play, is it's like decide which of these champions that we really want to go for. And I'm not 100% sure this time, because like, we already got the rat. Demithia is really, really solid. She's got a really nice kit, but I'm really not sure where we use her. She has some utility for trying to build some unkillable stuff with Clan Boss. You can see here she does take quite a few books. She does have the block damage, which is nice, and she'd probably be a pretty good champion for Dwarf Faction Wars, which we could always use. And she's got a really cool design, so I really like the way they designed her there. She's very solid Void champion. Hopefully they won't nerf her a week after she's out, but you never know. We got Thalessia here, who looks a little bit like Whisper almost with her design. I really like the Night Revenant design. She's pretty cool. She's got this cool sword, and I was actually really excited about her because she does have the Hex debuff. I think it's on her passive. The only problem is, again, they have this stupid qualifier where she has to have decreased defense up already, which she does do, which actually makes her kind of nice here. I think it's on the A3. Yeah, 60% decreased defense for 2 turns. Pretty nice ability to get on her for an epic. Works well for Knight Revenant as in Faction Wars and things like that, except she is Force Affinity, so she's not going to be that great against the Valkyrie waves in Knight Rev Faction Wars. But when I saw she had Hex, I was like, oh, maybe we can pair her with Ruel. We should go after her. But then I realized the decreased defense has got to be out before that so she can apply it. So I don't know. If we could get her, it'd be interesting to run a team. Maybe you have War Maiden go first, drop the decreased defense, then she can put out the Hex, then Ruel can use his nuke. Because when Hex is out, Ruel is one of the hardest hitting champions in this game. So we have him on this account. I thought that might be kind of neat to explore for Arena, but we've got a pretty solid Arena attack team already. I'm not really sure if that's viable. Doer the Hungerer, I think, is also pretty good, but like I said, it's going to be tough in Spider to get those first couple shards. But he does have the Revival. Revives 2 random allies with 50% HP and fills turn meter. So other than Duchess, I think he's the only reviver in Demon Spawn. I might be wrong on that, but I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I think he's the only reviver. Plus he's got the aura for faction crypt. So this guy would definitely be a faction war champion. Would be helpful on this account. He looks pretty cool. I like the demon looks. You know, he looks like something out of the Doom game, so he's kind of cool there. So if I was going to have to pick one, I'd probably always try to get the Void champion. But I just don't know. We're going to see how it goes because his fragments are buried kind of deep in Spider. I'm not sure if we're going to get there. But we already got the Rat. And I'm kind of excited for him because it looks like he may have some use in Clan Boss. And that's kind of the other thing we're going to have to worry about now is with the way our polls went today, we actually could go in some different directions with our Clan Boss team. I think we may because we're going to try to push for Ultra Nightmare at some point. And we actually do have some key components we could use to build a pretty amazing team for that. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we did get today from our Ancient 2X polls. We got a lot of rare chickens, which is good. We got a lot of 3-star food, but the star of the show is Sisia Flametongue. And you guys know how much I love her. I got her on my main account. This is my favorite design in the entire game. I just love her design here with all the fire and everything. Incredible spider champion. So that's why I was really, really excited because we got her. And this should actually allow us to push beyond Spider 20. So the cool thing here is this will allow us to basically finish the Arbiter missions, I would say, within the next couple of days. So we'll be getting Arbiter. So that's basically like getting a second legendary almost for free with pulling her. So that was a really exciting thing. Sissy is really awesome with her HP burn and everything. So really thrilled to get her. It's just we have to build her, which is going to take some time. And I'm hoping I can use her at 50 at least to get through Spider 20. And then we'll worry about the other ones after that. But you know, we'll be building her. We're going to wait till Artifact Enhancement pops so we can get some extra credit there. So we got her. She's pretty awesome. And where is the other? He may be in the vault. I think he's in the vault. And this is actually what really excited me a lot too was... Is he in here? There he is right there. We finally got Wanderer. Finally. I got him on, I think it was the first or second 10 poll that he came out. And it was hilarious because there was actually a Farrakhan the Fat in that same poll. I was like, oh, I got Farrakhan. That's pretty awesome. But then I noticed it's like, Layla's like, oh, you got the Wanderer finally. And it's like everybody in the clan knows I've been trying to get this guy for like 6+ months to finish out Rosin. So now we'll be able to finish the Rosin fusion, which gives us, like I said, we basically are going to get 3 legendaries out of this event just from the polls we got. So we'll finish Arbiter. We'll be able to get Rosin now. And Rosin immediately will come in and probably replace Aina in our clan boss team, because he can do the decreased defense and the weaken. And he's a defense champ, so we'll be able to build him much more durable so we can actually use him in Ultra Nightmare. Clan boss. So awesome polls today. Those are probably the 2 highlights, but we did get, like I said, we got Farrakhan. He's in here somewhere. I've already been leveling him up a little bit. And he has the, where is it here? The beatdown. Yeah, the ally attack here with all allies except this champion will attack one target enemy after the increased crit rate buff and crit damage buff, which is pretty awesome. And then he's got a deflect all incoming damage. So I don't really know if I want to use that on the clan boss or not, but this guy is a really good clan boss champion, and I think as long as we can pair him up with the ally protection, I think we will be fine. So the question is, do we go ahead and build a Farrakhan, and then we have the Rosin we're going to build, and do we go for a completely different type of clan boss team than what we're running right now? Because we have 5 well-built champs we're using right now. Obviously, Aina needs to be replaced because she's too squishy for Ultra Nightmare, but this leads to some interesting things. So we also did get a Burn Giri. who can help us out with Bommel next Doom Tower rotation probably. And then here is Scabrius, who I actually think this guy is pretty useful in Clan Boss because he does have the poison on the A1. It's a 5% poison. For 2 turns, you're getting that on every A1 basically. He has a leech on the A2, and then he has weaken on the A3, but also does and gives him an increased attack buff. So kind of an interesting champion with a lot of Clan Boss utility. I'm actually thinking about building this guy on my main to put in my unkillable team and use him there. And then he's got this passive, so when the enemy is under poison, he's going to do 20% extra damage. So this guy could be really, I think this guy could really do a lot of damage in the Clan Boss. And I'm just wondering if it would be worth building him and to replace Frozen Banshee. But Frozen Banshee is kind of like the staple of our team. She's kind of like the big damage dealer. And I'm thinking, you know, we get that ally attack with Farrakhan in there. So, I don't know. So the team I'm thinking about maybe running is going to be, we keep Skull Crusher in there, we bring Rosin in, we keep Frozen Banshee, and then we keep Aox, and then I think bring in Farrakhan for Jareg. And then we'd have to have Skull Crusher handle the ally protection, and then Aox would handle the attack down. And then we got this guy too to kind of think about. So unfortunately, in a free-to-play with resources being thin, it's going to be tough to really decide what we want to do there. So the first priority is going to be to build Rosin to replace Aina, because I think just having him alone in that role is going to give us a 2-key pretty much guaranteed on Nightmare, and then we'll be able to move our way up into Ultra Nightmare. We got a Vala as well. She's pretty solid epic for Barbarians. She's going to help me round out. I think I needed like 1 or 2 more champions in that faction to really push the end of Faction Wars. And then we got another Dark Elaine. She'll be a book. And then we got another Frostbringer. She'll be a book as well. So, or we might even use them as 4-star food. And then just a bunch of rares. You got Coffin Smasher there. We got Kale again. You got an Elaine. So just a bunch of some decent rares in here, but mainly just going to be using these as chickens once the champion training event starts. See, that's kind of the nice thing now from this 2X. We got all this stuff we can do now for the events in the Fusion. So very good Friday for us. Very good polls we got. We also pulled Rorik Wormbane, so we're going to build him out at some point. But just super excited to get the Sissia Flametongue. Just an amazing champion. Can't wait to build her up and hopefully just finally get through the Spire that's been giving us so many issues here over the last couple of months and finish up the Arbiter missions. It'd be nice to get Arbiter finally, and then we can actually maybe start pushing in 3v3 because we have Kymar we've been using as arena lead. That's probably going to stay. We'll bring Arbiter into the team obviously for some probably to replace Gorgorab, so we can then rebuild Gorgorab for dungeons and whatnot. But now we got to the point now where we've got some pretty solid teams we can start building for 3v3 and start trying to push our way out of bronze and maybe into silver on the free-to-play account. So that's kind of where we are there, guys. Great haul. We've been doing a little bit of work here with the switch to Clan vs. Clan on weekends, which, by the way, that's now coming back to a Tuesday, which is very interesting. It's going to be on October the 12th, I believe, is when the next one is going to be. They told us that today. So I'm guessing maybe people didn't double down on the 10X event during the weekend, and so they're hoping if they move it back to the week, they'll make more money with a midweek shard event. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But we've been building up some of the, I think we took our HP force up to 6, and now with Rosin here, we're going to want to make sure we're working on our defense force, brought our resistance up as well. So we've just been kind of working on a few things. When I get the 200, 300 gold medals, I just come in here and usually throw in a 5 or a 6 upgrade as we try to build this out a little bit more. So that's kind of where we are. I know we're not doing much gameplay tonight. This is really more of a just kind of an account catch-up and just going over the stuff we got in the 2X today, which was pretty cool. Clan Boss, we did do our 3-key today. We hit it too early. It was Void, and then it turned Spirit. If we had waited till it hit Spirit, we would have 2-keyed this because our last key I did was on Spirit, and I think it was like 22 million, so we could have very easily 2-keyed. So Ultra Nightmare is on Spirit, so I'm going to be tempted. We get one more key here in half an hour just about, so I may be tempted to see if they can... I don't know if they can push 17 million though yet, so we'll probably just throw that on Brutal and see what happens there. So that's kind of where we are with that. But like I said, this team will be changing up. We're going to start building Rosin Scarhide once we pull him. I still have to make Aranis and then build her to 50. That's kind of the only thing that's going to take a little bit of time. I may work on that this weekend to help with the fusion as well. You see here we have the epics, 3 of them. I need to ascend them up and then build Aranis and also ascend her. So we got a lot of work to do on the account. This is probably going to become my main account almost, with almost how much stuff we have to do and with how little I'm actually playing my main account now. As I mentioned in that UROGRIM video, my time spent in this game is really starting to drop off quite a bit. I've canceled my raid card on my main account. I've not spent any money on that account in a while, And I've just decided, you know, that until they start pushing this game in a direction that looks positive for most of the community, I just don't feel like supporting them financially anymore. I used to buy at least the energy refills for Clan vs. Clan, but I haven't even done that this time because I'm just like, I'm just done. You know, I just don't want to really even give them anything at this point. And when they moved Clan vs. Clan to the weekend, I was kind of like, that's kind of it for Clan vs. Clan for me, because, you know, my weekends, I'm out doing other stuff. I don't have time to sit on raid all day, Saturday and Sunday. I got too much stuff going on with friends and family and other things. So it's gonna be interesting couple of weeks here. Like I said, building up to that reveal with that video about what they're working on for Dupe System, I think is going to be a huge turning point in a good or a bad way for this game. There's a lot of ways that could be very negative and could be a very, like, you know, whale heavy feature where the people that are obviously pulling all these shards are going to have more than the free-to-play person or the low-spend person who's not, you know, pulling shards as much. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that. Anyways, guys, if you have any questions about anything in this episode of Free-to-Play Friday, feel free to ask down below in the comments, and I'll do my best to get you an answer as soon as I can. Let me know what you think about their response in the UROGRIM thing. Like I said, I think it's completely tone deaf, and it's just terrible that this developer doesn't even recognize, like, that people invested a lot of stuff in that champion, and now they just get nothing in return for the most part. So very interesting. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this video. As always, I hope you guys are having a great day. Thanks as always for watching, and I will see you again next time.